What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Hope you guys are doing well. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate you coming back. Share this out. Do all the good stuff. Seems the Giants have added two more players to the roster. Cloyd, who we're going to talk about today, and Lorenzo Lingard, who we will talk about in the next Roster Bubble Series video. They may bring in more guys, so this may not be the last of the Roster Bubble Series for the 2024 year. But if you haven't been to these types of videos before, I take a player that's on the cusp of being cut. I talk about their background, their competition, ways they could win a spot on the roster, ways they could lose a spot on the roster, and a prediction at the end. So today we're going to talk about new Giants linebacker Cloyd. Now, I will say this, I didn't find a ton on him, but we'll get some of his background in terms of his story rather than his scouting report. We'll talk about stats and then everything else intertwined. So he's 23 years old, 6'2", 228 pounds, from Columbia, Mississippi. He went to Miami as one of his main colleges, but spent the first 3 seasons in legitimate college football at Louisville, but also went to Jones Community College. And he has an interesting background. Now, he had, I believe, either an early birth or a birth defect to where the doctors told him, do not play football, do not play sports. And this is actually on an article on the website 247 Sports, where, again, the doctors told him, you can't play football, you can't play sports, it's going to be very hard for you. So he couldn't take no for an answer. And while doing an Oklahoma drill playing football, he severed several nerves in one of his arms. And the doctors wanted to amputate it, but that's not the case. That happened. His mother flipped out, and Cloyd said, no, we're not going to amputate it. And now he's here. Now he's getting a shot with the New York Football Giants. So, like Dante Miller, Cloyd has overcome a ton of adversity. And it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in the next 2 weeks with all the injuries and stuff like that. But moving to his stats, at least with Louisville and Miami. Miami last year, 44 tackles, 2 sacks, 6.5 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection in 13 games. When he was with Louisville, 12 games, 15 tackles, 1 fumble recovery. The year prior, half a tackle for a loss, 13 games, 13 tackles, 2 pass deflections, and then 12 tackles the year prior at his first year at Louisville. So he'll get the opportunity to play the next 2 weeks, and his competition, what does it look like? He's got Matt Adams. He's got Darius Musow, who's played very well. He's got Darian Beavers. If you want to consider Isaiah Simmons, you can. He's also got Carter Coughlin. Now, the Giants are very thin in that room right now because Carter Coughlin has a lower body injury. Deontay Johnson, he has an ankle injury. So right now, it's Cloyd, Adams, Beavers fighting for the key roster roles as the backup linebackers. And we'll talk about some stuff that he has to do in a minute, but I also got some stuff off of Sporting News regarding his scheme fit, what was supposed to be for the Vikings, but the Vikings ended up cutting him. Cloyd will best fit as an inside linebacker in Brian Flores' scheme, using his size and athleticism to attack downhill. So I think the best case scenario for Cloyd probably would be the Deontay Johnson role, is not having him engage with blockers right away, but giving him enough space and giving the play enough time to where then he could attack the quarterback and give it like a gap-free scheme. Everyone's attacking a gap, but again, like the Deontay Johnson sack on Nate Sudfeld, he waited, and then he was patient enough, pursued the quarterback, and sacked the quarterback. So I think that's going to be one of the roles that they put Cloyd in. And, of course, special teams. But, ways he can make the roster, health is number one. I know there's been some concerns over the last few years with that severed bunch of nerves in his arm. You don't want that to attack again. I mean, Cloyd, let's face it right now, he wouldn't be a big loss for the New York Giants, but it'd be a bit bigger loss for him considering all the adversity that he has been through in his career. So health is number one. Special teams usage. Diontae Johnson and Carter Coughlin, they are special teamers. And with these back-end roster guys, he needs to fit on special teams. So whether that's penetrating on a kickoff, blocking on a kickoff, whether that's protecting the punter, whether that's attacking downfield, he's probably not going to be a gunner, but a protector at that, and then blocking on both sides, punt and kick returns. That's going to be big for how KJ Cloyd could try to make this roster, really make an impact. Another way is being a ball hawk or just making a lot of plays in the preseason. Unfortunately, there's not many scouting reports, if at all, on KJ Cloyd, but succeeding to a similar style as Diontae Johnson did within the first few weeks of training camp, I think that's KJ Cloyd's best fit, stopping guys against the run, because Shane Bowen has put an emphasis on stopping the run. I love that from the New York Giants. It's definitely shown in camp. It's definitely shown in the preseason. And if KJ Cloyd can, again, jump in that Johnson role, do most of the stuff that he does, and play really well, stop the run along with the other guys that are competing for spots on the roster, that's a big emphasis on him making the roster, and that levels him up over some guys. And with playing well and other guys not being healthy, that levels you up over certain plays like Carter Coughlin. It could, I'm just saying. And then standing out in practice, that's one, again, making big plays. Being in the backfield, getting an interception or two off of either DeVito or Jones or Tyree Jackson, or if Drew Lock ever comes back to play before week 1. Those are big. And I think he has to try to ascend to the second team. That's my best advice, besides the stuff that we already said, is you already know that first team is McFadden, mixture of Simmons and Okereke. You don't have a set 2 because Johnson just got injured. So you got Beavers, again, you got Masau, you got KJ Cloyd, and then you got an injured Carter Coughlin. So, in terms of that, that's pretty much it in terms of ways he could win a spot on the roster. Now, how can he lose? If that health comes back to bite him, again, the Giants need healthy, reliable depth players, and if KJ Cloyd's arm becomes a problem, that's not going to be good for him. Not ascending in the depth chart, poor special teams play. Poor special teams play, I think, is going to be a route if that actually happens and he does not, play well on special teams. That will be a route towards not making the roster, maybe driving him to the practice squad or just completely off the team. But special teams play is going to be the foundation for him to make the roster. Again, blocking mostly on kick returns, punt returns, or penetrating on punt returns and kick returns. Not ascending in the depth chart. I think over the next 2 weeks, and I know the starters will play against the Texans, but he has to make a certain number of plays with the second and third squads, especially with these guys like Carter Coughlin, Diontae Johnson out. He has to make those plays. And again, when we talk about the defense, if he's not making a lot of plays, if he's Diontae Johnson, or I think his name was Troy Brown last year, Ole Miss product, he's a guy that really didn't make a lot of plays. So if KJ Cloyd is put in a good spot and he's not making plays that are noticeable to the eye, and Masau and Adams and Darian Beavers are making more plays, then he is going to see less of the spotlight and he will get cut. But unfortunately, I have KJ Cloyd getting cut. I think they just signed him for depth. I also think they like his story very much. I do. Listen, I admire anyone who overcomes adversity, especially to that level, but I don't think, in an honest assessment, he's going to make the roster. If he makes enough plays, practice squad, but unless Johnson's hurt for a while or Coughlin's hurt for a while, I don't see him making the roster. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate it coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.